And Ghana has conducted the first 2 autopsies on 2 COVID-19 bodies to help unravel the mystery surrounding the virus. A team of pathologists from the Ghana Health Service and the 37 Military Hospital conducted the 1 hour 30 minutes autopsy at the Ghana East District Hospital Thursday morning. In an interview with Joy News after the autopsy, Colonel Dr. Ato and Dr. Rosanna said this could be a breakthrough in the COVID-19 war.
The youth in the Ghanaian continue to come out strongly amidst the coronavirus pandemic. Talk about inventions in touchless hand washing equipment and test kits recently innovated by KNUST. Today, pathologists here at the Ghana East District Hospital have taken the bar a notch higher. They have for the first time conducted autopsies on 2 COVID-19 bodies. The breakthrough, according to Dr. Kaba, would potentially change the treatment process here in Ghana, on the African continent, and probably on the global scale.
One of the things we need to understand is that for case management, we've poured so much ourselves into treating these patients. And we all know that after the 14 days, we do the double test to make sure that they are negative. And we've gone beyond that. That all the patients that we treat, we do blood sample to actually analyze any other diseases they might have. And to some of them, you know that issue they say, don't mind the body, but mind the engine. You might have a patient who has recovered, but when you look at him, you kind of feel like, okay, he looks okay, but it's possible that the lungs are not actually in good shape. So we go ahead and we do X-ray. And all this, we do them here as part of the treatment and when they complete the treatment. But yet we still have people dying. Now, people usually say that life must be understood backwards, but lived forward. And we need to listen to the language of the deaf. And pathology is the language of the deaf, telling us exactly what happened. So one, if you come in and you do the pathology, the first thing is that it helps you to understand the cause of death. 2, we've been talking about comorbidities. And we don't know whether it is the comorbidity that killed the patient or is the COVID, or both. We will need to understand. So, and we also need to understand, is it from the lungs, from the heart, or from where? Pathology studies elsewhere has also shown that, let's say in the US, the first COVID-19 patient who died, and they did the pathology, they realized that the heart ruptured. And in all the instances, treatment was geared towards the lungs. Recently, results have come from many countries, China, Italy, and US, about pathology results, and they've seen that when we were talking so much about ventilators, there is also the need to start thinking about anticoagulants. Now, Ghana here, the manifestation of the clinical manifestation of our patients has a different pattern where we have so many people surviving, and that is a good thing. But we need to go beyond that and understand what is killing those few, because we would have loved not even one person to die. So here's the point. We want the deaf to talk to us. Now, with this, we are also influencing research around the world. With this, we can also get to advise patients and their families in this battle. You know, regularly, even if you do pathology, I always say that one of the most important pillars in medicine is pathology. Because it allows you to give an advice to the living as to what to do. Families, entire families, when it has to do with family diseases. It allows you to understand research. It allows you to modify your treatment. So depending on what we will get subsequently, it will aid us to modify our treatment and even make this better.
Morgani's table. Yeah. So the body was lying on this table, and the pathologists were breaking into the body to get the parts to inform the country or the leaders of case management as to what exactly is killing the COVID-19 patients in Ghana?
Definitely, this is a principal part of the fighting with the COVID. We can now do our research, our investigation to support the treatment we are doing giving to the patients. So once you have the confirmation of the diagnosis, the clinical diagnosis we are having, definitely you can support the doctors and you can give your help to the patients, because this is our main reason to be here. So once we are doing our research, we can see the way the disease is behaving in our country, so particular in Ghanaians here, because every country is doing our own, everyone is having their findings. So we are now having our own, so we can go forward in a best treatment for our patients.
I'm so happy. If I even saw some things here for the first time, I'm so happy. And the place is well equipped. And going forward, I think this place can be used for highly infectious, autopsies. Yeah.
So you are among the first to do this in the country. Tell me about the significance of this exercise that you have just undertaken here.
Yes, this postmortem that I have done. In fact, postmortem unravels so many things. Initially, I've done 2 cases that results came as negative. The family wanted to know. But subsequent tests that we took during postmortem proved positive. So which meant that the cases I did at that time were positive. Fine, these ones we knew they were positive, and I came in to do it. But those ones, it tells us a lot about even the sensitivity of what we are using to test, the PCR.
So that is the situation here at the East District Hospital, where Ghana has today conducted first 2 autopsies on COVID-19 bodies. This could be a breakthrough in case management and treatment of COVID-19 patients in Ghana, in West Africa, on the African continent, and possibly it would change the global dynamics when it comes to curing COVID-19 patients. From the East District Hospital, this is Latif Idris reporting for Joy News.
And thanks for staying with us. And Minority Leader Haruna Idrisu is urging Speaker to summon the Electoral Commission to appear before MPs to brief them on preparedness for the 2020 elections in the light of COVID-19. He's been speaking on the floor of the House as the House resumes sittings today. Let's go live to Parliament now. Correspondent Joseph Opoku-Gatpo joins us via Zoom. Joseph, what was the response to the Minority Leader's request? Well, just before we hear from parliamentary correspondents, let's take you live to the House and hear from the Minority Leader as he spoke.
120,000. Mr. Speaker, that must stand in denial. It is inaccurate, it's misleading, it's erroneous, and it's only meant to open members of parliament to ridicule and to all kinds of demands by our constituents. We know that the executive is working with district assemblies, not members of parliament, in the disbursement and expenditure of money. So probably leader will have to respond to that. My second, Mr. Speaker, is difficult, but if you so direct, the Gombe say that if you say because of a parasite, your mother shouldn't cook, you yourself, you are likely to go hungry. The Constitution provides that presidential and parliamentary elections will be held this year. Even as we struggle with COVID, the Independent Electoral Commission created under Article 45 of this Constitution owes this country and members of parliament a duty. They would have to be summoned to come and give us their roadmap as to their preparedness in view of COVID. Our democracy will evolve. and our democracy will survive COVID. They need to apprise this House their level of preparedness for the 2020 presidential and parliamentary election. If we cannot get them to come and brief the committee of the whole, at least they must come to the special budget committee. The last time I saw officials of the EC, they were walking in the corridor between the clinic and the NIB. We need to know from them what their preparedness is. And Mr. Speaker, finally, as we met, the CSM development in the Upper West region, the Honorable Leader led the way. We will need to know what.
And so you had that the minority leader, Hannah Juicy. Let's speak to Joseph Opoku-Gatpo, who joins us via Zoom. Joseph, what's the response to the minority leader's request?
The majority leader, Osechi Mensah-Bonsu, agreed
And of course, they're having some challenges there via Zoom. We'll try and re-establish contact with Joseph, and he joins us on the phone. Joseph, you were telling us about what the majority leader said in response to the minority leader's request.
The majority leader, Osechi Mensah-Bonsu, agrees with the minority leader that to a certain extent, the Electoral Commission should be brought in to brief Ghanaians on preparations ahead of the 2020 election. He makes the point that despite that, President Akufo-Addo is committed to not allowing for any situation where his mandate will be extended for even a day. And so he says the president has repeatedly put out that statement and made that commitment. And so it's up to the Electoral Commission to put in place the necessary processes to ensure the election comes on. The only interesting thing is that although he agrees with the suggestion of the minority leader, no timelines as to when this would happen were actually given.
Let's talk about business on the floor. We understand there are a number of tax waivers related to COVID-19 government is seeking approval for. Tell us about it.
So first of all, you know, when things are imported into the country and they are even meant for donation purposes, a tax to the tune of 18.5% on the amount of the item that's been imported has to be paid. Now, Parliament is requesting for that particular waiver so that then the donations that have come in from the Chinese government, the Jack Ma Foundation, the United States government and all will actually go without the payment of any taxes. As well, government has laid before Parliament a request for waiver of income taxes on the personal emoluments of healthcare workers for the months of April, May and June 2020, as well as a request for the waiver of income taxes on additional allowances to be paid to frontline healthcare persons for the first 3 months. And as well, government has laid before Parliament a document requesting for some form of waiver. You know, when taxes are not filed a certain duration at the end of the tax year, penalties accrue, and government is requesting that that is again waived for businesses. All those requests have been laid before Parliament's Finance Committee, and they are meeting to consider that. After which they will return to the floor with a definite approval for that to as well be given later in the day.
And Joseph, just before you go, what can you say about the calls from MPs to have the health minister appear before the House today to update them?
They appear to have gotten what they want. Samuel Okudzeto-Agbakwa made that request a little earlier in the day, and right now, Deputy Health Minister Dr. Bernard Okuboy is addressing MPs on behalf of his boss, Kukwa Jiman-Menu, indicating that in terms of dealing with COVID-19 as well as the cerebral spinal meningitis situation, they are very much under control, and government is putting in place the necessary measures to keep Ghanaians safe. So Dr. Okuboy is addressing MPs on behalf of Kukwa Jiman-Menu.
Joseph, thank you very much, and I know you'll be monitoring that and bringing us up to speed on what happens on the floor. That's parliamentary correspondent Joseph Opoku-Gatpo. Now, waste management company Zoomlion Ghana Limited has disinfected the Wa airport. The exercise is in line with a nationwide program to stop the spread of COVID-19. John News' Upper West correspondent Rafiq Salam witnessed the exercise and now reports.
As part of measures to help in the fight against the spread of COVID-19, the disease caused by the coronavirus, Zoomlion Ghana Limited, one of the subsidiary companies of just one group of companies, is partnering government to ensure that the country is rid of the disease. Leading the charge is the Vector Control Unit, and for the past couple of days had embarked on an exercise to disinfect airports in the country, aimed at keeping the airports healthy and prevent the spread of the deadly disease. The disinfection exercise is to herald a possible easing of air travel advisory in the wake of the coronavirus pandemic. The exercise, which was to be done at the Wa Airport, was nearly disrupted by a heavy downpour. When it was over, the 8 sprayers tasked for the disinfection exercise quickly organized themselves and the disinfectants and go straight into business. They sprayed the entire one-story building of the Wa Airport that accommodates the terminal, departure, and arrival lounge. They also sprayed the tarmac, tower building, and the runway. Emmanuel Volsuri is the Upper West Region's manager of Zoomlion Ghana Limited, and he threw more light on the exercise.
You know, the airports have been closed to the public because of the COVID-19, and for them to reopen, we have to disinfect the airports to make them safe, because you hear from the president that this disease was first imported by people traveling through the airport, and once they travel through the airport, that means that there's the likelihood that you have these viruses within the airport, and once you disinfect, then you deactivate the viruses and other bacteria or other disease-causing organisms, then you make the airport safe for the public.
He allayed the fears of the people that the chemicals used in the exercise is harmless to humans.
The chemicals we are using are not harmful to humans, and they are EPA and WHO approved chemicals that we are using.
Emmanuel Bolsuri advised Ghanaians to stick to the protocols outlined by the Ghana Health Service and the World Health Organization to help in the fight against the deadly disease.
Disinfecting the airports and ensuring safety does not mean that the other safety protocols that are being promoted by Ghana Health Service and then the World Health Organization should be ignored. The social distancing that we are talking about, in fact, we have to be in the, you have to stay safe, and then you have to frequently wash your hands under running water, and then also when even sneezing, you have to cover your mouth or your nose with a tissue, and after that you dispose it off quickly. Or if you don't have that, you can, when you are sneezing, you can raise your elbow like this so that you can you will not infect others if you have it, and others will not also infect you if they have it.
Voting for Joy News, Rafik Salam.
And here in the studio, my name is Ernest Mini with Joy News today. Coming up in business, public policy think tank Imani Africa says decision by government to return to GCNet's management, trade, facilitation, other country sports is unnecessary. Details after the break, don't go away.
Thousands of workers in the restaurant and pub businesses have lost their jobs as a result of COVID-19. That's according to the National Hospitality Association of Ghana, which has the majority of their members drawn from restaurant and eatery businesses. The hospitality industry has been described as one of the biggest casualties of the coronavirus pandemic, and some players are still counting their losses. Theodore Jeble is Executive Secretary of the National Hospitality Association of Ghana.
It is that bad. There are no profit margins at all. And as long as the borders remain shut, it means you can't make profit. The business is truncated. People's investment, lifetime investment is at stake. And I mean, the sector employs over 700,000 Ghanaians. So imagine the numbers that will be jobless. school children whose school fees cannot be paid.
Just to butt in a little bit, you talk about 700,000, you talked about them doing a 10% capacity. So from your members, do you have any fair ideas on the number of persons that have been asked to go and stay home, or those who've been asked to step aside because of this challenge?
Well, we can give you a block number.
Rough estimates here, in 10% wise, how many of the workforce have been asked to go home?
You are talking, if I should just, give you my, on the spur of the moment, I will say about 25 to 30%.
Of the 700,000?
So far, if not more. I'm not able to give you the actual figures because we haven't done any research to come with a specific number, but that's what...
But from your members, do you have a fair idea about the pool of persons that they employ in terms of those who are in the pub and the restaurant business?
Yes, like I said, we are talking about 300,000, 400,000 minus the hotels. Okay, but if you add that to the hotels, you are in the region of 700,000 people.
And that's it for now. We have more updates for you in business on the marketplace. My name is Emmanuel Abuaji. We have a good afternoon.